less stress, more time, more money. Welcome to the Cashflow Contractor, short with Khalil bin Haj.
What's up, Cashflow Contractors? Khalil here with another short that I hope will bring you less stress, more time, and more money. Today we're going to be talking about prospecting, and excited to talk to you about some principles for prospecting, specifically some foundational truths that you can stand by, that you can always rely on to guide you as you try to get more prospects for your contracting business. It's different than tactics. Tactics are different methods that we will try to execute to get more prospects, but principles will be true across all tactics that we use. So if we're going to go and try this email strategy for prospecting, the principles still apply. And if we're going to go to a bunch of networking events, and that's our tactic, these principles still apply. So what is prospecting? Prospecting is the process of getting the right people who are ready to buy your service at the right time and getting their contact information to start a relationship. That's really the main goal for prospecting, is that you're trying to find the right relationships with the right people who can get you the right jobs at the right time. Now, it's going to be different for contractors that are more so bidding jobs versus contractors that are giving quotes on jobs. Contractors that are trying to get on a bid list, this is where you're really wanting to develop relationships with GCs. You're wanting to develop relationships with people maybe at city councils, and you're going to just want to get in with the right people. Those are your prospects, because they're going to give you the opportunity to find out about the jobs that are coming up and to get your bid in there and get an RFP in. For contractors that are more so giving quotes, maybe to some builders, maybe to the homeowner, to a business owner, your prospecting is more so going to happen at home and garden shows, and maybe door to door. If you're a roofer, right after a storm, you're going to go door to door, and that's your prospecting right there. You want to be in with community leaders. It's a great thing to be a part of the community, because people know you as the contractor that does X, and whenever X comes along, they reach out to you. So your prospecting will happen at those kinds of events and with those key leaders in the community that can pass on prospects to you. So, principles for prospecting. These are 5 principles that I like to stand by with prospecting and that I like to tell people about. And so the first one is really standard, and it is a good one for anything, honestly, but it's set goals. You want to set goals for your prospecting, because if you have a goal, you're more likely to reach it. If you don't have a goal, then you don't have anything to aim for. And so set a goal for what you want to execute with prospecting. Make sure that it's something specific, something that is measurable. If you know SMART goals, it's an acronym for SMART: measurable, attainable, realistic, and time specific. So what you might do for goals for prospecting, something that I like to do, is actually called a pyramid for prospecting. And if you imagine a pyramid shape, like a triangle, cut into 3 sections, and at the very top where the peak is, you've got meetings. Meetings is your really bread and butter, that you're really trying to get a meeting with someone so you can establish that relationship. And so in that top part of the pyramid, you're going to put a number, whatever your goal is. It can be 1 meeting, it can be 5 meetings. Most likely, if you're not a full-time salesperson, you don't need to be trying to get 5 meetings, because you've got so much on your plate that you're trying to do. But if you can even just put 1 meeting there, that's great. On the next part of the middle part of that pyramid, you're going to have calls, and that's a certain number of calls that you're trying to make. And I like to only count calls where I actually speak to somebody. That's up to you. But you're going to put a number in there, and let's say it's 5. And then at the bottom of the pyramid, the last section, you're going to have emails. And emails are emails that you're able to send to people, and I like to be personal emails. That might be a little bit of a template that I'm going off of, but for the most part, I want to make it as personal as possible. So I set those goals at, say, 10 emails. So I've got 1 meeting that I'm trying to achieve, 5 calls that I'm trying to make, and 10 emails that I'm trying to send. So if you have that pyramid, what you're able to do is those are your goals for each week. And if you get a meeting on the first call, then you don't have to make your 5 calls. If you So the goal is the meeting. And if we get the meeting, then we don't do any of the other things. But if we don't get the one meeting, then we're going to make our 5 calls. If we've made our 5 calls and we don't get a meeting, we don't go and make the 6th call. We did it. We're good. Then we move down to if we made the 5 calls, then we need to go ahead and make those 10 emails as well if we didn't get the meeting. And so if you've done all of those things, if you've tried to get the meeting but you didn't get it, you tried to have 5 phone calls and it wasn't successful, you better have sent 10 emails. And that's just going to keep you consistent, which is the next principle. You want to be consistent. If you have those goals and you have them set on a frequent timetable where you're going every week, then you're going to be able to have results after you've been consistent for a while. You'll be surprised at how consistent those meetings will happen and those relationships will be developed, and you'll have a good processing system if you can just be consistent. A lot of contractors are always complaining about, there's just no work right now, or it's only the low bid that's getting the job, or, my marketing's not good enough, or, so-and-so's not following up enough on jobs, or whatever it is. And the reality is that you're responsible. It's not anybody else on your team, it's you. And if someone's failing and you're their boss, that's on you, not on them. You either chose the wrong hire or you didn't give them the resources they need. And if you have goals and you're consistently trying to reach those goals, then you're going to do well. It trickles down from prospecting to jobs. And if you're doing this consistently, you will see more jobs. So for the third principle, we know that we have solid goals that we can do consistently for our first 2 principles. For the third one, it is know your ask. And this is such a key thing. You can't just go and start emailing people and trying to call people and schedule these meetings and just talking about the weather. You want to know what your ask is. Yes, you need to build a relationship. You need to get to know the person and not just talk about yourself. But you have to go in knowing what you're trying to accomplish, knowing what you're trying to ask someone to do for you or to work with you. So know your ask and have a few asks. Sometimes you're going to go into a meeting and you're going to see that it's not a good fit for what you're trying to provide. Maybe they don't have any jobs that they can give you an opportunity to bid on. But you can have multiple asks. Maybe the next ask is, hey, I'd love to get connected with that association, or I'd love to get, the contact information for this other builder that or, hey, I want to come to that city council meeting or whatever. Do you know anybody that can get me in? Whatever it is, have multiple asks before going into a meeting, before making a phone call, before sending that email. That way, you're not going to look silly or make the person feel bad for not being able to help you. Most people want to help, but you need to give them a reasonable thing to be helpful with. So know your ask. The next principle, the 4th principle, is celebrate no. And this is such an important one because rejection's going to come. People are not going to pick up the phone. People are going to say, hey, no thanks, I don't know you, don't want to talk, see you later. Hey, stop spamming me with these emails. People are going to say no. And you need to celebrate that, because if you start just counting these no's, you're just going to get down on yourself and you're not going to want to keep going. But you need to keep celebrating these no's. And if you're like, okay, got another no, good job, let's keep going. If you have that positive mentality every time you're rejected, it's not going to be that hard. And if you can trick your mind into thinking that no is a good thing, that no just means progress, then you're more likely to keep going whenever you do get these no's. Use it as fuel. Use it as something to motivate you, as a chip on your shoulder that you're going to keep persevering and going through. So for the last principle, number 5, and this is so important, it's be helpful. Other people want to be helpful, but they're more likely to be helpful if you're helpful to them. And so whatever it is that you're doing, it's about relationships. Remember that. Prospecting is a process to build relationships that are going to lead to the right jobs at the right time with the right people. And you have to be helpful to build those relationships. So always think of ways that you can help someone. Make sure that if you are going to that meeting, that you're getting the door for them, that you're buying them coffee or lunch, whatever it is. You're seeing of ways that they might need help in what they're doing, and try to help them solve the problems that they have. they're going to be more likely and more willing to help you solve the problems that you have and reach the goals that you're trying to achieve. So let me run it back for you really quick. First principle, set goals. Second principle, be consistent with those goals and with prospecting. It really should be a weekly thing. Third principle, know your ask. Go in, not blindly, but go in with a purpose and know exactly what you're hoping to accomplish with every phone call, every email, and every meeting. The fourth principle, celebrate no. It's okay to be rejected. It's going to happen. I can absolutely guarantee it. And just keep rolling with the punches. Know that, use it as motivation and fuel to keep on prospecting. And 5, the last principle, be helpful. No matter what, even when people say no, still try to be helpful. All right, prospecting principles, prospecting 101. Hope that those are helpful. Would love to hear any other tips that you have for prospecting. If you want to shoot them my way, I would love to talk about that. And love to hear if these are starting to work for you. If setting goals is helping you to be more consistent and giving you more fuel to do it. If you find that being helpful and taking that approach changes the way that you prospect and the value of the relationships that you have, let us know. Lastly, I do want to mention that we do have a webinar coming up here in a couple weeks, I believe, for building a sales pipeline. So if you want to figure out how to build a sales pipeline to really start your sales process, sign up in the webinar. It should be in the show notes. Just click the link, and really excited to go through that. It'll be a really valuable thing for you. So hope that you're having less stress, more time, more money. Hope that this was helpful, and I appreciate you listening to the Cashflow Contractor. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Cashflow Contractor. Check out our website in the show notes or visit thecashflowcontractor.com.